the most memed moment on X in the last couple of weeks was when Angel Hernandez retired or stepped away or whatever. And I just a collection of them have been quite something. I think this is my favorite one of them all. This one, Angel Hernandez's selfie, where he's not in the zone.
Yeah.
He's just outside, just a little bit outside. I mean, this one was good.
I said, yeah, that was very funny.
That one made me the old LOL right there. I very rarely watch back stuff that we do. I'm not like Larry Sanders where I go home and I watch back the entire show and then I call people up in our team and say, "Hey, what'd you think? Did I do okay?" Because I kind of felt a little nasty while I was talking about him leaving the scene.
About Angel?
Yeah, I felt bad.
Why?
I don't know, because I kind of said like
terrible.
It's just kind of like get out, like please leave.
I mean,
because I don't know him. You know what I mean? I don't know him, and I felt I got a little personal.
Well, that makes it easier to say mean things about people.
Yeah, I didn't know him.
But I
really feel bad.
Like saying that there should be an Angel Hernandez, bobble ball night. Where he stays stationary and the ball just bobbles.
Rich, that's just comedy, bro. You can't feel bad about that. That was comedic styling.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, Jeff Passan's just jumping in. You got something, Jeff? You got something?
Yeah, I don't like that everybody is trying to make you feel guilty for having a conscience. Allow the man to be a human being, please.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jeff Passan here on the Rich Eisen Show. Correct. I was just talking in the Roku channel only segment about how I felt bad about telling Angel Hernandez, don't let the door kick.
You should be able to tell them you're terrible, and you shouldn't feel bad about that.
Well, if I pay a ticket to do that, but thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you saying that I have a conscience and that I should follow it. So thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. And here's the thing. I want to jump in too because
Please.
Look, I have written about Angel Hernandez. I have tweeted about Angel Hernandez. I have helped, frankly, contribute to the Angel Hernandez climate that led to him going away. And it makes me wonder, what's my responsibility and what's my part in this? Because I think sometimes we take for granted what social media actually does and how it brings out the absolute worst in a lot of us. And I think the easiest way to do this and the easiest standard by which any of us, frankly, should live is, would I say it to the man's face? Any of the stuff we say on social media about Angel Hernandez, if you were confronted with Angel Hernandez, would you say it to his face? Would you call him the names that you call him online? Would you tell him how terrible he is? A lot of that stuff, frankly, led to him going away. He got tired of it. He got tired of the social media firestorm that exists. And that, frankly, I will acknowledge this, is understandable because there were parts of his job where he was genuinely bad. And it was magnified by the ubiquity of baseball on social media now, and how, every time he would do something wrong, it would get put out there, and then it would just almost compound upon itself the last time, and it would bring up the Angel Hernandez highlight reel. And you just had this echo chamber of Angel Hernandez awfulness that, in the end, I think wound up being a big part of his undoing.
Well, I mean, it was clear, though, Jeff, too, that so many of the players had lost respect for him. Yeah. Where I mean, the Schwarber and Bryce Harper moments where they're like, I know I'm going to get kicked out. So
just Schwarber two-handed slamming the bat,
right? Or Harper, being told, the famed, check swing, and then the fact that he was ruled by Hernandez to have checked his swing on ball 3, and then the same check swing was called strike 3 on the very next pitch. But my issues with Hernandez was he was always he did did he rarely ask for help? I mean, I think the answer is yes. Like, I would never really see him sort of like, let's huddle it up and, oh yeah, I'll take this reaction and also some help from my colleagues to try and get out of a situation. Perhaps I'm not, right. I never felt that from him, Jeff.
Yeah, even if that's the case, though, Rich, like even if it is somebody who goes and says, "Help me out on this," does that change the fact that he got it wrong in the first place? It's usually not going to. They're usually not going to overturn the call. And frankly, if another umpire sees something and says that you were wrong, he's going to say it. Angel wouldn't have needed to initiate that. I think it was just that we expect a certain level of competence from our officials. And when that level of competence is not reached, and when that compact between the league and its fans, that we are going to give you competent enough umpiring, refereeing, whatever it is, when that compact is breached as frequently as it seemed to be with Angel Hernandez, that's where the league, frankly, needed to step in and do something. And in this case, it was say, hey, we're going to offer you a handsome retirement package, so you stop being one of the main characters in our daily programming.
So
that's what he was. Like he had become like the villain who comes back every so often when you least expect it. It's like, oh boy, Angel's trending again. We got an Angel Day today. What do you do this time? As opposed to, oh boy, we've got a big home run from Shohei Ohtani. Or, oh boy, the Cleveland Guardians are playing amazing baseball this year. No, it always went back to Angel. And it's like we had fallen as baseball viewing fans into this almost habit of waiting for an Angel Day to happen because it was inevitable.
So did baseball have a guiding hand if Angel Hernandez was saying, you know what, I'm done with the online vitriol and the umpire auditors and stuff like that. I've had enough. Yeah. Did baseball kind of give a nice little shove with a parachute?
I don't know if it was almost, I think, like a meeting in the middle. I think it was like a mutual understanding between them. Like, you've got your intermediaries who know Angel Hernandez and who know Major League Baseball. And I think everybody recognized that, okay, this, it ain't working. Like he was out for most of last year with an injury, and he wanted to come back this year, and he wanted to see if he could still do it. And, for the most part, like that's the sad part of this, actually. For the most part, 90+% of the time, Angel Hernandez is really good at his job. Like he does a good job of getting balls and strikes right, and does a good job on the base paths. But good as an umpire is not good enough. You have to be great. You have to be spectacular. You have to be the best in the world at what you do, especially when you have a reputation like he did, especially when you've sued your employer like he has. There was just so much baggage there with Angel Hernandez that I think everyone involved recognized that in the end, this ultimately is going to be a better thing for him and for the league too.
Jeff Passan here on the Rich Eisen Show. And speaking of being able to admit when you're wrong, while we're on that subject matter, I will raise my hand and say I was way wrong about the pitch clock. And I know you and I had many conversations as it was being invented and then implemented. I thought that this would just be taking the loveliness of baseball's meandering pace and the ability to just chit-chat in a ballpark and remove that for the sake of being more current in a scrolling TikTok world. My son and I went to an Angels-Yankees game last week, had a perfect view of the pitch clock. It was awesome. It was great. It never got in the way. It definitely kept things moving. It did not remove a damn thing from the enjoyment of the game. It enhanced it. A friend of mine who lives in New York when the Yankees and Giants game was ending around a quarter after midnight Eastern time on Friday night was like, usually I'd have to stay up till 1 a.m. to see the ends of these games.
Right.
He called the pitch clock, in his mind, the greatest sports invention since the three-point line, and it's very difficult to push back on that, Jeff. It's awesome. I love it. Can't love it anymore.
No, and it's, it filters its way down too, which is like my favorite part of it.
How
I watch
so?
a lot of because I watch a lot of 16U baseball, man. I watch my kid play a lot this summer, and I feel like the pitchers are moving quicker at the youth level now because they understand that they're only going to have a finite amount of time once they get up, into college eventually and into the minor leagues and the big leagues to throw the pitch. It's so much better as a fan. It's better for a casual fan. It is better for a crazy diehard fan. It's better for everyone involved. And the best part of it, Rich, is the seamlessness with which it was integrated. Like, it was the truest, elegant solution that I've seen in sports in a long time, because it has cut down significantly, almost a half hour on average game time. And it's done so without taking any of the beautiful parts of the game that we worried away from it. And the players have adapted fantastically. Now, I wish there were the same kind of elegant solution to try and get offense back to where it has been in the past. And that's what was supposed to happen with the ban on the shift and with the pitch clock and with these other rules. And for 1 year, you saw batting average climb up a little bit, but batting average is down, man. Offense is down. Runs scored per game is down, and there is no obvious solution to fixing that right now without potentially inviting unintended consequences that you may not want nor realize are going to happen.
Like what? Like messing with the mound distance to home plate and things in that year? Because I mean, the number of guys, Mason Miller's a perfect example. Holy cow, just watching him throw.
It's absurd.
It is absurd, and then you see the young pitchers that the Pirates are keeping on churning out right now, right? And just how it's just the ball explodes out of pitchers' hands. Relievers can all throw 100. Off-speed pitches are like 92 miles an hour, and
Yep.
And it is awesome to watch.
Rich, the average velocity of the fastball in Major League Baseball right now is 94.4 miles per hour. I was watching Major League a couple days ago, and the first pitch that Rick Vaughn threw was clocked at 96, and it was like, we got to get back in to throw some strikes. It was, oh my God, this guy throws so hard. He throws 96. The average pitch in the big leagues right now is 94.4 miles per hour. And the breaking stuff that they're throwing is nastier than ever. And it's to the point, some people get kind of annoyed that, the Jeff Nelson slider, like the Frisbee slider that we've seen in the past, is called the sweeper now. And that Paul Skeens and Joan Duran are throwing a splinker, which is like a combination between a sinker and a splitter. Pitching has gotten so good that we're needing to differentiate among all of these different pitches to try and explain how they're different, because they actually are. It's like pitching has gotten so educated to this point, and the ability to teach guys these unbelievable pitches to throw has made it such that the advantage is there, and hitters are just trying to catch up, and they're not winning that battle right now. And the only saving grace is home runs, because if home runs weren't where they are right now, run scoring, I'm not going to say it would be down at 1968 levels, Rich, but it would be pretty darn close.
It's Jeff Passan, a few minutes left with him right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Is it right to call the Yankees a surprise team? I mean, because this is they're playing some of the best baseball I've seen them play in a very long time. Right now.
Yeah, since 2009.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Garrett Cole having his arm hopefully not blown out, but missing half of his season, and they're 22 over, and I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming.
I did. Admittedly, I Did not either. I worried without Cole that the Yankees might have a problem making the playoffs. I was dead wrong about them. Dead wrong. And look, I probably should have known that when you have two of the five best hitters on the planet, and then some, on some days, Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are the two best hitters on the planet, that your lineup is probably going to be okay. I worried that the Yankees were a little bit too old, but you know what? Anthony Volpe has stepped up, and Giancarlo Stanton has stayed healthy, and Alex Verdugo's been great. But the thing that really takes me by surprise is their starting pitching. Their starting pitching has been their hallmark this year, despite Judge having this absurd May and Soto being as good as he's been over the first 2 months. Their starting pitching has been everything up to this point. And whether it's Luis Gil, who's probably the favorite for American League Rookie of the Year right now, or Marcus Stroman, who has more than outpitched his free agent contract. Nestor Cortez has been phenomenal. Clark Schmidt had been great. Carlos Rodon, so much better than last season. And the bullpen, Clay Holmes has been damn near unhittable, and everybody else down underneath him. They may need another reliever or two at the deadline, but Rich, this isn't a team with a whole lot of weaknesses. And the fact that they're going to be adding the reigning Cy Young winner in the American League back to their rotation makes them even scarier. And I'll tell you, right now they're the favorite in the American League, and Baltimore's got a little bit of work to do, and Seattle needs to go find some offense, and Cleveland's going to need to add before the deadline because this Yankees team looks scary.
Yeah, I mean, and I said that with respect to, say, someone like Kansas City, like the Royals are performing very well, but calling the Yankees a surprise team. But while watching the pitch clock in Anaheim that day, I was with my son watching the Yankees and the Angels. I also was keeping track of Scott Boras standing there in his dugout perch in his suite while Juan Soto stepped to the plate. And I just thought to myself, what goes through this man's head as Soto steps into the batter's box right now? Like, what is that whole drama going to look at? Right. I would say the Steinbrenner should just adopt him. It might be cheaper to make him part of the family legally, because I'm wondering how is that going to play out with the trade deadline approaching? Obviously, Yankees aren't going to trade him, but everything over the next few months, how does this work, Jeff?
Does the number start with a 5? Because
it's got to, don't you think?
I was going to say, because if not, then, I think you're going to have a really difficult time being in the mix. And to me, this feels like a New York affair. I know that the Yankees and Mets don't like going up against one another for free agents, but the Mets need a player around whom they can build, and the Yankees have a player who has proven capable of not just walking into Yankee Stadium and being good, but walking in and being great, being foundational, being the match for Aaron Judge, and somebody who can play alongside him for the next decade. And the thing about Juan Soto, Rich, is he's 26. He is a young free agent. So everything that teams are looking for, he has. Now, we also know through free agent history that they're going to nitpick. And so the nitpick on Juan Soto is going to be that, he's not a great defensive outfielder. And if he's not a great defensive outfielder now, what's he going to age like? I don't care. The bat is so good. The bat is so special that the defense really doesn't matter, because the skills that he has between his eye and how hard he swings and the quality of contact that he makes, he is an outlier. He's an outlier away from everyone, including Aaron Judge, by the way. And so when you have that unique of a set of skills, you need to be paid like a unique player too.
And my last couple minutes with you here in our June checkup, if you will, Jeff Passan, who do we keep an eye on this month that might become sellers for a bunch of teams. I mean, you look at the National League, and it kind of feels like set already, to be honest with you. I mean, I know the Braves don't have Acuna.
Pretty close, right?
Right. The Braves don't have Acuna. They're 7 behind the Phillies, who have the same record as the Yankees. The Dodgers, if you can dare call a team 15 over disappointing, has a 7-game lead over the Padres. The Brewers are the only team above 500 in the NL Central. I'm wondering who, we can kind of figure out who the buyers are going to be. Who do you identify as being in that cusp of selling, depending on how June goes, Jeff?
Well, if you go on to ESPN.com right now,
yes, sir,
then you will see my early trade deadline preview, where
okay.
I go over all
Look at
30
you selling.
teams.
You're selling. It's like,
I mean, it is ESPN Plus, so
yeah.
It is a bit of a sale, but trust me, it's worth it for the information you're going to find on ESPN.
All right. So, don't I mean, can you give a little hint? So let's treat it like it's
I've actually got them, Rich, listed as hinge teams, because the trade deadline and how enjoyable it is going to hinge upon these teams actually moving guys. And the Toronto Blue Jays may be at the top of that list. We've got potentially Vladimir Guerrero Jr., potentially Bo Bichette moving. Now, Ross Atkins, their general manager, said it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us to trade them. But let's remember 2 years ago, Mike Rizzo said on June 1st, we are not trading Juan Soto. And then by the time August 1st rolled around, Juan Soto had been traded. So there's a lot of posturing going on. And I think the Blue Jays want to give themselves the opportunity to make this work. But they also understand that there are not a lot of great players from the obvious sellers who are going to be available. And that if you're a team like them and you can rebuild a farm system, because what you've got right now, frankly, hasn't worked to this point, hasn't gotten you out of the wild card round, you got to consider doing it. The Arizona Diamondbacks are going to be in there as well. The Detroit Tigers. I mean, there are some teams that are in the middle there that have guys who, if they decide to move, could change the trajectory of the deadline. Let me throw one more out there for you, Rich.
Yep.
The Houston Astros,
wow,
who are 7 games under 500. Alex Bregman is a pending free agent. And then beyond that, after 2025, Kyle Tucker and Framber Valdez are free agents. And I'll tell you, Kyle Tucker is really, really good, playing himself into $300 million territory because of his production and because of his age. And if he's out there, every contender from the Phillies to the Mariners and on down are going to want a piece of Kyle Tucker.
Jeff Passan, I appreciate that. Everybody go to ESPN Plus for more than that. You kind of treated that like the article, like if you don't, you only see the first couple paragraphs and then you got to pay to see the rest. So I appreciate that little tease, and I appreciate always chatting with you, brother. You're the best, truly. Thanks.
As are you, pal. Thanks. Appreciate you having me.
You got it. A must follow out there on the social media landscape. Jeff Passan, at Jeff Passan, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Lots to digest off of that. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.